Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, it is a glorious evening here at the bar. Just go ahead and click that. Like, what are you doing, Don? If we haven't even started, he's looking at his microphone.
You were loud. You were loud, boss. You're too loud for this cowboy.
Too loud for this cowboy. So we're already having. So I thought we were going to talk about aliens tonight, but we went right into Brokeback Mountain. So hey, it's all the Midwest.
Go ahead, take it away.
It's all right there. So alrighty, folks. If you didn't notice, we made a little bit of a left turn here on the show. Just before things were about to get started, we had an opportunity to get our good friend Patrick W. Cutler on. And I don't know why he's got to use the W. I understand. Well, let me correct that. I know why he uses the W because I still use Sean P. Murphy. I like my middle initial in my name. I like the way it sounds. That's but we cute. we had Patrick on, and he brought on with him someone who was abducted by Sasquatch, sent up by aliens, and brought back to let you know that he's got a picture of it all to show us. Mr. Don Bromley, or on Instagram, and I'm going to tell you all to go. Me personally, as somebody who hunts, I just like his Instagram, trail camera guru. So, gentlemen, bro, you got great trail camera footage. So, welcome to the bar, there, gentlemen.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
So we're going to get right into this, folks, in a minute. If you are a believer in aliens, you believe in that there's life outside of where we are right now. No, Nathan, I'll fix this real quick. It's not aliens started in Pittsburgh. It's assholes started in Pittsburgh. Go Ravens.
No,
Don actually has connections, relatives back in Pittsburgh.
What did you lose a bet? Did you lose a bet? Is that why you're a Ravens fan?
I am from Baltimore.
Yeah, sounds horrible.
Look at this right here. But as we point to the board, as always, folks, sticker and a cause. If you got a cause, you got a thing you believe in, you've got something that you're looking to support, whether it be a local sports club that you're supporting, whether it be a charity, whether it be a film like Redgate Film, which we'll talk about again here in a little bit, which we got to see a little bit. My wife and I sat and watched a screener of, and I will tell you, I've said recently, the most visually beautiful film I've ever watched is the new Dune film on HBO, just visually amazing. Mm-hmm. Pat might be on his way to that level. I was so impressed by the visuals. So make sure you're going to check. See, if Pat had a sticker, we'd put a Redgate sticker up here.
Pat, come on, bud.
We would put a Redgate sticker up.
I'll be honest with you though, Sean. We caught some breaks there with the smoke and stuff, and the shots that we shot some of those days were it's hard to explain. It was just gorgeous filmmaking.
Bro, you did a beautiful job. So as we always say, sticker and a cause, make sure you get that over to us. You can hit us up on our Facebook pages, The Above the Bar Podcast, or LinkedIn, The Above the Bar Podcast, or YouTube, The Above the Bar Podcast, or Twitch, The Above the Bar Podcast. The only one that's all cattywampus is our Twitter, which is @AboveTheBar4. But if you want to go ahead and email us, it's theabovethebarpodcast@gmail.com. Other side to this, if you need to have your media abducted and improved, make sure you reach out to Media by Dibs. You mentioned the Above the Bar podcast. You mentioned Belly Up to the Bar. He's going to give you a 10% discount on your first media, either video or picture, whatever it is you need. And he's going to give you a free consultation. You can find him also. His Facebook and his Instagram is Media by Dibs, and that's DIBS. Or if you go on the LinkedIn, you can find him at Andrew Dibble. All right. House cleaning is done.
Good.
We're going to get into this. We've already got some folks mentioning, yeah, that movie is great. I want some spice. I'm curious. Are you guys Dune fans? I love Dune. I love both versions.
I gotta watch. I tried watching it as a kid. I don't think I've ever sat
The-
through the entire Dune.
Well,
Yeah,
Dune,
me
the
either.
original 1984 Dune, is amazing, but it really doesn't follow the book.
Mhm.
The new one that was done for HBO is like into the book, and the book is amazing. But it's like I don't know. I'm not going to get into religion, but if you've ever read the Old Testament, where it was like Joe is the son of Steve with the daughters, and it just drags everybody's lineage out.
Mhm.
The first 100 pages of the book Dune drag out this entire political system and how this guy built his own for the book, and you're like, I can't. This is so painful. And then it like gets past it, and you're like, this is like the most amazing shit I've ever read in my life.
Wow.
It was, yeah, got to read it. We're already into this. So Nate's already saying that your movie is going to be epic. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
Mhm.
And our Facebook user, I don't know who that is, but whoever you are, thank you for joining us. Is sitting here saying that you got to read Dune. I'm a big Dune fan. I love it. I love it. So all that being said, if you haven't watched Redgate opens, and can I say the open? Because I think
Yeah,
Don's an
go
important
ahead.
element to this open.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
You see Don, and I'm gonna be honest. I initially thought that it was just part of the shtick to it. You know what I mean? Like the
Right.
movie aspect. Like, okay, this is interesting. They've got this whole movie, and this is how they're kind of feeding into it. The whole Montana alien sightings and all that. Okay, that's cool. And then all of a sudden, I realized talking to Patrick, he's like, "No, Don's got the real footage. It's real."
Mhm.
I'm like, "Hold on, this is so you just fed this shit in, but
Mhm.
Don's got this." So I want Don to tell us like how you come across it, because obviously, like I said, big hunter. You got plenty of trail cams.
Mhm.
Uh, can you use the cell phone cams up there, like the ones that'll send you pictures right to
Yeah.
your phone?
The wireless, not in that particular spot because there's no cell phone service, but
Well,
I
that's what
do
I was
have
gonna
a
say.
few. Yep.
Like I was gonna say, up in those regions, I was curious if those would even work up there.
No, not especially where that picture came from. No, there's no service in that draw. Yep.
So tell us, Don,
Yeah.
how this picture comes to be.
So at the time, about a year before I got this picture, which is in 2018, I was running an outfitter business in what's called Twin Bridges, Montana, and my stock and trail cameras went really high. And to this day, I still have about 120 cameras I run, and that's low. I need more. It's an addiction. So I worked on a ranch in the Redgate area east of Deer Lodge, and then I left, ran the outfitter business, came back to that ranch, and I started putting a lot of cameras up on this. It's like a 10,000 acre ranch, pretty locked up tight. Mostly for animals though, for my own hunting benefit because I wasn't guiding anymore. But the backside of this ranch, it's public land, but to get there is nearly impossible. And there's an old logging trail they probably cut it in 60, 70 years ago, and it hasn't been used in decades. And it was just off the property's edge. It just seemed like a really good funnel for animals, deer, elk, bear, whatever. I parked this camera on this tree, a good, $200 stealth cam. And then around that encompassed, maybe 6 or 7 more, because I'm not so much about getting the picture. I'm about getting where the next picture's taken. So you get a big bull elk that gets here. Well, then what direction did it go?
Right, where did he come from? Where's he
Yep.
working? Is he bedding in the area?
Yeah, it was a straight scouting tool. So that was my whole theory behind it. I put the cameras up in, I'm going to say July, August. I ran some, I like to run lithium batteries because they last at least a year. You'll fill the SD card up before the camera dies. Went in October, and I checked a few cameras around to that one that I was heading to. Nothing too, spectacular, just your typical deer, elk, bear. And I get to this camera, and when I open up the box to look, it's dead. The camera's completely fried. I'm like, oh, that's weird. 2 months in or whatever, it should be fine.
The batteries are dead or the camera's dead?
The batteries are dead. That's my first initial, like, oh,
Okay.
Maybe I got a bad batch of lithiums. So I pull the SD card and I stand there and I download them right into my iPhone. And the camera, for people that don't know what, trail cams are, it's a motion triggered device that once something moves in front of it, it'll take a picture and you can set how many pictures it takes. So this was set at a 3 consecutive picture trigger. Well, the last 3 pictures was the image I captured, and the next 2 were completely black. And then it was dead. The camera, that was the end of the pictures. So I thought, oh, this is weird. I just kind of glanced over the picture. I was more concerned about the camera not working or why it died. So I plug in 8 new batteries into this camera, and I go to turn it on, and every setting I go to, it just glitches. You just get error codes. And to this day, I mean, that was 4 years ago, it still has never taken another picture.
So, okay, so you still have the cam.
I still have the camera. Yep. So I get on my phone, and then I look at that picture like, oh, I think it's a trespasser. And then the more like I look at it, because that's my first, makes sense.
Right.
Then I zoom in on the picture, and I'm like, well, it's like 7:00 at night in the dark. This thing just doesn't, you don't see clothing. You don't see a backpack, a gun. You don't see anything. And the direction of which it's going, and Pat can attest to this, it doesn't make sense. Nothing would travel that way.
This is why I can't be convinced in any sense that it's human. And it's 7:00, October 29th, Montana. So it's not a time that people be up in the mountains, like hiking or whatever. This stretch of land where you set this up on, it's like a small little stretch of public land between a bunch of private land. So to get access to this area is very, very difficult to get to.
You have to put effort. There would have to be serious effort.
Yeah, serious effort.
Lots. And for that, again, that time of year, who would try to go in this area at that time? And then the other part is Don knows every single person going in and out of this area.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's very hard to make the idea that it's human. Then, like you said, if a human was going on this trail out of nowhere at that point of night, they'd be going north and south, up and down the trail. They would not be coming across the trail like this thing was. And you'd get at least a second image of the thing coming across.
Well, that's the other thing that you mentioned in Redgate is there's none of the other cameras caught anything. There's no other image. And I don't know what your delay is on yours if you do, the 5 second, whatever delay is on
5
yours.
second. Right.
So I mean, the chances that, because most of them have pretty good wide angles to them, the chances that you could get from one end to the other in less than 5 seconds, you're hustling. You would have to be like you're talking Usain Bolt kind of speed,
and then some. I've got mountain lions at a full run chasing animals, and you always get at least a second picture.
At least an ass shot or something.
Right, exactly.
I'll say also, if someone was up there, they would have a backpack on. We've done a comparison photo. They're not wearing any shoes or anything. It's hard for me to believe it's human. You have to form a deep conspiracy to say that's human. That's where we're at.
Right.
Like it's not. Like
So then I sat on that picture I got that. It's funny. I looked at it on my phone and I'm like, that's creepy. I don't want this picture. And I hit delete. Are you sure you want to delete? And I'm like, I can show my buddies. I can see what my buddies think. And so I saved it. And it wasn't until about 6-7 months later, in a random stroke of luck, I came across a guy that has a show on the Sportsman's Channel, actually his son. And he's like, oh, you got trail cams? I said, yeah, like 100 plus. And he's like, man, what's wrong with you? Like, we had this talk, and then he goes, well, have you ever got anything weird? Oh, actually, last October, I show him the picture. Well, then he shows his dad, and his dad says, hey, I got all my camera crew stuff here. Let's do an interview right now on the mountain.
Oh, shit.
And that was kind of the birthplace of this picture. It was on Outdoor Weekly, or Carbon TV's Outdoor Weekly. And that's where it first hit. And then History Channel got a hold of me, Discovery Channel. And then this summer, I met with Pat, like, hey, how can we integrate this picture into your film?
So where we kind of intersect here is that Don had a photo and he's kind of casually showing it to people here and there. And I was a psychopath, the horror film directly connected to it. And I just kind of said, all right, we're putting this out to everyone. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, well, I will tell you, like, at first I was like, where is this fitting in? I was trying to figure out where it was fitting in. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, it's interesting, but I couldn't figure out where it was fitting in at it. I'm gonna just fucking be that guy. I'll be that guy.
Good. Most are.
So the original and still the movie itself is stories about the Redgate area and different tales and things of that nature. So it was like,
So that makes sense then.
so it was kind of like at the end, not to give anything away. At the end, you kind of wondered like, what just happened exactly?
Look, that ending
Mm.
has such a what's the movie? Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
Has such a Last House on the Left, Michael Myers kind of vibe where you're like, oh well, they son of a bitch. And it was like Last House on the Left, Michael Myers meets Sound of Music. Because it was just, you get a dance scene, you get a little like Hills Are Alive and shit like that, kind of. Yeah, you've got it. Look, folks, if you haven't seen take the time when it comes out and it's finally released. You gotta see it. You gotta see it. As Nate says, the hills have eyes.
That's actually the comparison I use. Is this film is like the Signs crossed with Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, I mean it's something. It's like I don't even know how to
like what did I just watch?
It really did. Like I just watched a visually stunning movie that was made with an iPhone 12 and and all of a sudden all this was it a 10? No, I'm kidding.
No, it wasn't.
Go watch.
It was a 12
watch.
actually.
It was iPhone 2. No.
Go watch Patrick's movie because it is
No,
amazing. I was very impressed by it. But this is kind of gets into, and this is what I always say about alien stuff, and it's so odd to me. So the government this past summer released legitimate footage, like from pilots, finally saying like, we don't know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, kind of saying, we're gonna. And it was funny because it's we all see these things on TV where they're like, oh, it's the government trying to keep you from paying attention to other things. Like they sent that shit to us right in the middle of all the Trump BS and kind of were like, COVID, Trump, there's aliens. So we're going to let you guys like, what'd you say? Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Don't
keep
worry
going.
about it.
Keep going.
Yeah.
COVID, Trump.
COVID, Trump.
Oh, there's aliens. You said it again, didn't you? No.
Said what?
Nobody heard nothing. Just please, get out there, wear your mask, get your shots, hate your neighbor. I heard it that time. I know I heard it that time. And that's what it really felt like to me. Was
Right.
this whole like, let me just whisper this into your ear, but we're not going to say that they're there, but they're there. But the other side that I want to get your guys' thoughts on this is, I promise, I always feel like if you walked up to 10 people right now and said, hey, do you believe in aliens? 9 of them would tell you yes, or 7 of them at least would tell you yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you said, let me show you proof, or I have proof, they would turn around and go, well, that's not real.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I've lived that life. Yep.
Yeah. And again, that's one of the comments that Don gets, and I get quite a bit. It's like, well, it's just so funny. You guys always get these images, and they're blurry, or they're this, or they're that,
Right.
and yada yada yada. Like, do you think the alien was going to stop and let us do a photo shoot of it?
Right. Do you think the alien is concerned about their Instagram followers and needed to stop and wear the best 2-piece they could find and show their cleavage off?
I wish.
Let me show you my gray matter. They call me the gray man.
Gray man, the grays.
Right. It's really, so I'm always curious of that is, so how do you react to that, Don, when people say to you like, yep, absolutely believe in them. Here's this photo. And they go, well, that's not an alien.
Well, it's funny because
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Yeah.
Jeanette had it best. Alien influencers.
Janet, you're my favorite. Yep, you got it.
Oh, that's great.
It's funny. I never, especially for the first couple years with this picture, I would never go one side or the other. I would let people tell me what they thought it was, which was the safer way. Like, okay, I got this picture. What do you think it is? Well, it's an alien. Oh, okay. Well, it's
Oh,
a
really? So
person.
people just straight out were like, "That's an alien."
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, and I had it so almost down pat that I'd be, what is this? Oh, that's a reptilian. That's a skinwalker. That's an Arcturian. Like, people would actually break down the classification of what kind of alien it was. But on the other side of that coin, that's a trespasser. It's a dumb picture. Why would you show me that? And I'd have that. I'd see it go both ways.
We've solved it. We just
Yeah,
solved it. It's a Kardashian alien. Kardashian aliens.
The butt is not big
the alien.
enough.
The
Butt is
alien.
not big
Well, they
enough.
don't worry about the butt. It's all about the head at that point.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
alien influencers are Kardashian aliens. I fucking love it. I just figured out what the next T-shirt I've got to figure out how to make is Kardashian aliens. Oh God, I got to work on that. Oh, that's so great. So, and what's funny? When I looked at it, if you would have handed it to me and said, "Hey, this is an image. I don't know what it is," and you just gave me the back information, my first thought was alien life forms.
Mm-hmm.
It's Keith. I don't know what Keith. I have no idea why your stuff is coming up as Facebook user. That's Keith. But that's really what my first thought was. Is I was thinking like, oh, this is something more supernatural, more like a ghost, more spiritly that would be coming up that way, or maybe was caught on a camera for whatever reason that would be in there. Is there any history to that area that would say like, I don't know, like battles, or it was a trail that went through to cross the area, with wagons or anything along those lines?
So, yeah, I guess I can take this one.
Yeah.
So I've done just a lot of research on this area for a while, and so the mountains, Deer Lodge is a valley, and it's surrounded by mountains, and the Redgate area is on one side of the mountains, and a lot of the history of Deer Lodge is based around this idea that Deer Lodge was built on a Native American massacre burial ground, which is kind of weird. So the basic story is, and you can look this up on the history of Deer Lodge, Montana, is that you have these Native American people. They were called the Métis people, and they found a settlement called Spanish Fork, and that's where the rivers kind of came together or whatever. And it was down in the valley. And this guy named Johnny Grant, he came in and founded a place called Grantsville. Grantsville today is modern day Garrison. It's like 10, 15 miles away outside the valley and everything. But he took off, and then a year later, he shows back up with all his buddies, his friends, his relatives, and he comes down into the valley and founds modern day, they called it Deer Lodge City or Cottonwood City at the time.
Cottonwood City, yeah.
Yeah. And these Métis people, like, they just disappeared. Like, what happened to them? Like, they're not there. It's like, well, what happened to these people? And down the road, to kind of support the idea that there might have been some kind of Native American massacres, that there are grave sites down the road of similar instances where they were just kind of massacred, and these European settlers came in and just kind of took over. So that's it's kind of found on a weird, really real.
What do you? That's
even the
ahead,
picture though too. It's where the Redgate area is actually the west side of the Continental Divide.
Okay.
Which, for people that aren't familiar with that, it's watersheds to the Pacific Ocean on one side and the Atlantic Ocean on the other. So the power line, there's a main source power line that runs across the Continental Divide there. I don't know if I've heard a lot of theories that there's a disruption in the plates, the magnetic pull. There's a lot of theories on the Continental Divide being a draw to activity, a higher density of it. Yep.
While you guys are talking, to tell us, now what either one of you can kind of gauge this. So how much, when they say that Montana is the like hotbed in the U.S. for sightings in the sky, those type of things, give us an idea of what we're talking about here.
So yeah, we're talking about through just the Redgate area, we're talking about tons of reported sightings of UFOs in the sky, and a lot of these sightings are these big bright lights. They'll be driving around at night, and they'll see this big bright light come down out of nowhere in the sky, and they'll just chase their vehicle around or whatever. And we're talking about these types of sightings.
Chase
Like
their vehicle around.
Yeah, like literally
It's a
chases
common
their-
one.
Yeah, that's a common one that a lot of people have reported on. And then you saw within the film, not to get anything about the film, but that guy in the film came home from just being at the theater with his kids, and suddenly he sees these white bulbs in the clouds.
Yes.
It's like, it was bizarre. It's like, because they're not fireworks, they're not a flock of birds coordinated. It's just very strange. Like,
I'm trying to actually, because I have the picture here, but for whatever reason on God's green earth, I cannot. I'm trying to put the picture up.
It's because it's an Arturian.
It's an Arturian. It's an Artillerian. So one of the things that you and I talked about, and I'm going to put Patrick on the spot here for a minute. Well, actually, before I put Patrick on the spot, I'm going to put Don on the spot. Have you ever before this, were you a skeptic? Were you one of these guys that was like, no, yeah, maybe, could be, or, where did you stand with it?
I never saw lights in the sky. I spent a lot of time up on that mountain. When I was in my early 20s, I was working a ranch job actually in the Redgate area. And I came across a cow that had a perfect 4 or 5 inch hole in its side. And all the organs and blood were completely gone from it.
No.
Yep. And it happened that day because I rode my horse through the pasture the day before and there was nothing there. This was in the middle of a field.
See, now we're talking bullshit.
Yeah. I went to the ranch owner and I said, hey, there's this cow that's dead, but it's just hide and bones. Well, he didn't believe me. So he jumps on his horse. We go ride to the pasture and he gets off his horse. He looks at it. And when I say a perfect 4 or 5 inch hole, perfect, like surgical perfect. And he sat there and he looked at it for a while. And then he just looked at me and said, okay, go haul this to the dead pit where we throw all the dead animals and let's never talk about this again.
Like this is never to be spoken of.
Yeah. So that was my only tie into something strange in the area that I ever witnessed, which was very strange.
Yeah, no, that wins that. Like that's every bit as strange as what you're telling me here.
Right.
It, no, like, so we got up there and fucking there was a hole in a cow and
Just bones and hide.
And everything else was just kind of sucked out like someone was plugged a giant straw into it and just.
That's what it looked like. There was no blood at all. Because I looked around, I thought, I don't know what predator did this, but no.
Yeah, that doesn't. For those of you that have never hunted, trust me, you pinprick one of those things, and it looks like a crime scene.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Unless you're the asshole that somehow shoots it, and I've been that guy where you shoot the animal and you're like, I know I hit that thing. And you're like, you get over there and you're like, there's nothing here. And then you walk 60 to 80 yards in a direction you think it went. And you're like, where did all this come from? How did this stay inside of it? Did it hold its breath the entire time?
Right. Right.
We're going to try something here. I'm going to give something a shot. See if this works. It may not work. So for those of you that have never seen the picture, let's see if this works. So there's our picture.
Creepy.
It's interesting. You see, I'll tell you some of the things that keys to me is if you look around the hip area, it looks like it's got something on its hip, like it's wearing something.
Right.
And then you get up around the face, but you can see this like weird protruding jaw lip thing. And then, but it's almost like the legs, the way it picked up on the legs are like an X-ray. For those of you that aren't seeing this, if you look on our Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, everything, I posted this picture. We use this picture as the background to advertise for today's show. So please go check it out. You can check out. Do you have it, Don, on your page, your Instagram page?
It'd be Pat. Pat would have.
Yeah, I have it. I have it quite a few times on mine.
So,
yep.
So check out Pat's and it's on there. But yeah, it's interesting. For those of you that are out there watching it live, give me your comments. Let me know what you think about this. And those of you that watch this later, send us some messages. Let us know what you think about this photo and what your feelings are. Is it an alien? Is it a ghost? The head's very odd shaped. It's got weird arms, but there's definitely something on its hip
Right.
that you can just tell from the darkness. So,
A lot of the
the
podcasts
fact that I
I've
got that
been
to
on-
work.
Attaboy. Attaboy. A lot of the podcasts I've been on, though, is a lot of the theories on what's on its hip is the device that makes it be able to be on planet Earth.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard that one a few times.
And the odd thing is, I look at it again, and I just kind of notice this a little bit more. Is like, yeah, it's Joe Biden. Okay.
Oh, we've heard that one so many times. So many
Yeah, I've heard that a
times.
lot.
He's lost in the woods.
Yeah.
The leg's almost cut off. You look at the bottom. At least the front
Yes.
leg is almost cut off. It's like, okay, like not
Is
only
that a
no
tall
sh-
grass area? I mean, that's where I think that's how I thought about that. Is like tall grass, you know.
The grass though usually isn't that big there, right?
Right.
I mean-
You know, Pat, you should probably send the comparison photo over.
Oh,
Yes.
you-
That's
If you
the
send
one
me
that
the
would
comparison, like in a JPEG or something like that, I can throw
Yep.
that up here.
let me get the. Oh, I got it right here.
Yeah, the comparison. I did not want to go back to the spot.
Well,
when we
I
did
mean,
this.
look, folks, go watch the movie Redgate. And now that I know what I know, and you know it before I knew it, so now we all know it. You like that
Mhm.
shit?
That was good. Professional.
It was. I'm kind of, you know,
A
kinda
big
good like
deal.
that.
Don't worry
I'm
about it.
I'm kind of a big deal. But no, like if you go and you watch the film, you instantaneously you're like, you see Don. Don's like in the car, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm not going up there. I'm not doing that.
That's real
And-
emotion.
And you see Pat then bully him.
Yeah, you
Bullying's not right,
bastard.
Pat. Bullying's not good, Pat. I just want you
Yeah,
to understand
Pat, you
that.
bastard.
You know.
Hey,
Who-
boycott Pat Cutler. I'm the bully here.
Oh God, you have a boycott pack. That's a whole nother thing that someday you will have to explain to me. Where I'm like, I don't even fucking get this whole.
Oh,
this
it's
whole
funny.
entire thing.
If you really knew, especially after last night.
Oh
you'd
my
really
gosh, I
know.
don't want to talk about last night.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
not,
that was
let's not.
bad.
Oh.
That was bad.
So, James, I went to high school with James. It's a ray gun or Hunter Biden's crack pipe. Fair enough.
I think either option fits. It does.
What? Here's a great question. Is it an alien crack pipe? We're really going to go fucking off the rails here for a minute. Is it an alien crack pipe?
That's assuming aliens smoke crack, which I think they do.
I mean,
I would if I was an alien.
would you? I mean, it is Montana. It could be meth. I'm not going to say it's crack,
True.
but a better shot it's meth. It is. It's a whole nother thing. See, now, you guys just remind me, and I don't remember where the gentleman lives. He lives like 45 minutes to an hour away from you guys to the east. And he was on here not long after Pat, and he got into we did a whole show on aliens, Jesus, and the afterworld. And it was
Yikes.
and he
Oh,
was like,
wow.
oh yeah, that was
That's in depth.
that was, yeah, it was a whole thing. So now here's another thing, and I love this. This is just something one of those other theories I heard. I don't know
Yeah.
why everyone hates birds right now. Like there's this whole thing about where just people are just hating on birds for some reason. And there's the whole thing about one guy was like, birds aren't real. They're government spies to listen to us, which I thought was amazing. I was like, you're just amazingly bad at you're bad. Like this is like a whole thing. Like I don't even know what to tell you. But the other one is are birds aliens?
Mm.
Combo picture, folks. Throwing the combo up.
Oh, yeah.
So now this is, now that grass is fairly tall.
Yeah.
Because we
when you
did
start-
this a few months apart.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So the grass is fairly tall. There is definitely a distinct difference in the grass. You can see it in this photo. But what really throws it off is how, and I would even say the other one even, yeah, it's wild. Like, I don't even know, man. Like you could almost see through to the body.
Right.
Like there's something around it.
Yeah.
That's why I thought ghost.
But also, look at Don's eyes light up, and you don't see those
Was that you,
eyes light
Don?
up. On his
That's me. Yep.
Don, and now it makes more sense because as soon as you came on the show, your eyes just lit up for me.
Oh, buddy.
I mean,
I love when you talk dirty to me.
your eyes just lit up for everyone. So it's a compelling photo.
Yeah.
And and it's not, and that was the other side to it. It wasn't like in the Deer Lodge area, you were the first person that was like, the sky is falling, and
Right.
you were like, here this is. That happened. It's a regular. It almost seemed like it was a regular occurrence to me from watching the film.
It is. And Pat, you can back that up. It's 100 years plus of. I just have the first concrete evidence, I would say.
So this goes back. There's a documentary. Anybody watching should check out this original documentary. It's like 15, 16 years ago. It's called The Secret of Redgate. You can find it on YouTube. And it goes back to these kids growing up in the Redgate area who report visiting with aliens as kids. And they even went aboard their spacecraft and everything. And they describe the aliens as being like 3.5, 4 feet tall. And it's very descriptive. And they did, and I don't know if you believe this or not, Sean, but they did hypnosis past regression hypnosis, where they went through these hypnosis sessions that are super intense. Really interesting film. But they go back to the 1950s as recording these alien events and experiences, and the UFOs themselves appearances started around the 1950s. When people started experiencing the bizarre things.
So, the other side. Do you guys know who Banachek is? Banachek.
I don't know if I do.
The Amazing Randy just passed away last year.
WWF wrestler?
No, but that is a great. So this is there's a whole thing. It's called the $1 Million Challenge, where they say if you can bring them undisputable proof of alien, extraterrestrial, anything, they will give you $1 million.
Shoot, he died.
No, it's still so. Banachek still does it. If you look up Banachek, he still is involved in it. The Amazing Randy, who passed away, started it. But if you check out Banachek, you will also find, if you ever look into it, I believe it was UCLA or it was Berkeley back in the 70s. He was the one who was involved in basically making an entire university look like asshats because they thought he had ESP and telekinesis and all these other things, him and another guy, and he was just a really good sleight of hand magician as a teenager. And these people actually gave a press conference, and in the middle of the press conference he stood up there and goes, yeah, so none of this is real. Here's how we fooled them on everything. He was on my show and he talked about it. He's like, they would write numbers and put them inside of envelopes and staple the envelope closed and be like, he can't get into this. Well, what they never did was they would leave the room and he'd come back. But while they were out of the room, he would pop the staples out, just bend them and pull them out and look inside and then put it back into the hole and bend it back closed. And it gets into the idea, and it's the other side of the coin to this, is it gets into the idea that we've never been able to prove anything outside of what we know as the natural world inside of the confines of scientific proof. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like, so like your picture, have you sent it off to anyone who's like, they do the photo analysis to where they can say, hey, this is legit, this is what this is, or, where they can judge and say, oh no, what you're missing here is these are hues from blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Anything along those lines.
The History Channel, right?
History Channel on the proof is out there, which ended up being a big, horrible situation because she just said, it was a guy in a hoodie. That's what her final analysis was. But they did have a photo expert in, and he broke down the picture on the episode and said, yeah, this thing hasn't been tampered with. This is 100% original. So
that's huge right there.
Right.
And then they brought in a lady that works at CVS to tell you that it wasn't an alien.
Oh man, I got 90...
Wait a sec. Hold on.
Yeah.
Please tell me she really worked at a fucking CVS photo booth.
She should have. It was like,
bad.
It's bipedal. So they compare my picture to Bigfoot right off the bat. The network asked me to send them some overexposed pictures from other trail cams, and the picture is a mountain, or it's a bobcat, and she goes, yeah, look at this mountain lion. So she doesn't even get the animal right.
That's great.
So how is she the one? Yeah, it was bad. So she's like, well, it's just a guy in a hoodie. That's what she said. It's debunked. I got
Just a guy in a hoodie.
92 text messages within a minute from all my friends and family watching that episode. Because
her
when
opinion debunks it.
Right. And that's why I wore my hood in this. Like, well, I'm a guy in a hoodie. So what is this? You know.
I get. So
There's
I mean,
a-
I'm
there's
just
a
playing
bad deal.
devil's advocate. If I were to pull the back side of this image forward, I guess I could see a brim. Does that make sense? Like, there's a little dot up above the forehead.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
if I pulled this image forward, it would thicken that up and I could see that. But again, that's me going, yeah, I guess so.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right.
I'm still sticking with, so the theory, according to the guy who knows nothing, is that this is definitely, I'm saying spirit, like ghost, more ghostly to me.
Let's hit on that for a second. I find this interesting, and I don't really bring this part up. I'm very geared towards, paranormal and what that could be, Arcturian, reptilian, fifth dimensional being.
Oh, I like that fifth dimensional being. That's even better.
When I first went back there for that recreation picture, the guy's like, well, you got a reptilian, they're fifth dimensional, so they can see in the future, so they know that we're coming back here tonight, just so you're aware.
Can I please look? If I don't get that fucking guy's number before this show is over with, I need to talk to him.
He's
I'll
a badass.
I will cancel other guests. I will do one of my Saturday shows to talk to a guy like that. You have no idea how much I love them. There is
I'll
nothing
set
better.
you up. He's my boy. So
Oh, I love it.
But
So listen here, guys. So this is a reptilian. It's an Arcturian. They're fifth dimensional. They can actually see into the future. Don't even worry about this, guys. They're never going to see you.
and I told him, I'm like, well, I don't have plasma bullets for my gun. So,
Oh, God.
we were all sketched out, and Pat knows the feeling of it. But what I was getting to is about, I don't know, 200 yards up the draw, where I was telling you that tunnel, the Continental Divide power line. There is an old homestead, just the basic bottom foundation that had to be built in the 1800s. And as it goes, the theory is this guy was a prized horse fighter from Minnesota. He came out
horse fighter.
Horse fighter, yeah.
What is a horse fighter?
Pretty much self-descriptive, like
Right. Like I know what cockfighting is. Is it the same idea?
Concept. Yeah, you get the big stud of a horse, and you fight for the the rights.
Fuck out of here. That's not true.
That's the story.
Bro, I'm 45 years old. I've watched every Western that you can think of, from fucking Shane to Open Range. I've never heard this. That can't be real. Somebody Google that shit and send it to me.
Google it. I'd Google it. I've looked it up because I've heard it so many times that he was a horse fighter, but then the natives killed him in that draw because that was still Native American territory.
Wow. Wow.
That's got you more tripped than the picture.
Look, nothing personal, but fuck the picture. Horse fighter? Like I'm really like I feel like a horrible person to, like, in the middle of my show to have to Google something. It's happened before, but I'm looking up like that. That sounds like a great stage name, even. That's gonna be my OnlyFans page now. I'm starting an OnlyFans page, and they're gonna call me Horse Fighter.
I think it's called like equestrian warrior or something. I think is the
holy shit. Like there is an episode. Oh, we lost Don. Don will come back in a second. We lost Don. We'll get Don back in a second. But there's an episode of the show The Virginian. A veteran cowboy finds planning a payroll robbery at Shiloh. He's Don. He's in the green room, but he's having device not connected. So if you can text him or something, text him.
Let me see.
We lost Don, and Don was like blowing my mind right now. I can't find anything. Horse fighter. I'm gonna have to kick Don out for a second because he's not connecting. I'm gonna kick him, send him a text. Oh, he jumped off on his own. Hopefully, he'll be able to get back in here. But there's actually a game called Horse Fighter.
I'm saying there's a game called Horse Fighter.
Yeah, like there's a game called Horse Fighter, but I'm not seeing anything where like horse fighting, maybe horse fighting. Like we have so fucking tripped into another thing because I've never heard of this. There's videos of horses fighting, but look. Nate says this all the time whenever I talk about anything paranormal, any of that stuff. I always end up with glitches. I always end up with problems with my show. Can we get Don? All right, we got Don back.
Sorry,
All right.
gentlemen.
No,
Montana. It's Montana.
no, well, no. So Nate, Nate you'll have to have Nate on with you, Patrick, over on that show, and he always says anytime I talk about supernatural, aliens, anything, my show glitches, absolutely glitches.
Oh, really?
Pat, we know that firsthand, right? With my trail cams.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Trippy.
All right, we got John, another fucking Pittsburgh guy, but I like John. All you Pittsburgh guys, most of you, I like you. I'll give you that.
Oh, Gianni.
Just your team sucks ass.
Oh, Johnny. We were on his show, right, Pat?
Yeah.
Johnny's a cool guy.
He's a cool dude. That was a fun podcast.
Yeah. Well, him and I met at the first ever inductions for the International Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Cool.
Which is here in Albany now. It was upstate somewhere, and then it moved to Texas, and then it came back. But it's going to be in what's now called the MVP Arena, and very, very neat. Nate's already ready to book you on his show. But yeah, it's pretty neat. Like this last one, for me, is in my age, the Hands of Stone Ronnie Garvin was there. If you don't know who the Hands of Stone Ronnie Garvin was, this was like the ultimate blue collar wrestler. The guy didn't like to this day, he still has what's considered as the worst finishing move in all of professional wrestling, the Garvin stomp, which is like he just bounces around the person and stomps on them. And that was his finishing move. But the reason they called him Hands of Stone, and I never realized that was his finisher, because to me his finisher was they called him Hands of Stone because he would stand there and he would just blast somebody, bah! And just hit them, and they would drop. And that was really his finisher. But he was a very blue collar. Growing up in Baltimore, Steel City, we had GM. People's dad either worked at Bethlehem Steel or GM. So a guy like that was the guy you saw. He hung out in the bar with your dad and people like that. It was always the guy that everybody was like, "I'll whoop your ass, old man." And then you're like, "You may not want to do that, there, young buck." And that was Ronnie Garvin. Yeah. Look, John's already talking about book. I'm confirming today. I'll be there in August. Yep, he's coming out. Him and I were talking about that. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it. August 28th,
cool.
International Professional Wrestling Hall. You guys should come out. Oh, you know what else we have in Albany? We have Scarefest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
sign us up.
Fuck, I'm gonna sign you up. Fuck, I'm gonna do it.
You guys are into horse fighting in Montana.
Don, poof,
yeah,
you're there.
Thanks, buddy.
You
can be a horse fighter.
I just looked it up. There's a game called Horse Fighter.
Yeah, I'm watching the video game right now. A guy's on a horse and he fights people. Is that what that's about?
No, that's it.
I guess.
Go ahead. Look, it's like an ancient culture, and this guy was perfecting it in Minnesota. I've heard this story so many times. Like, it seems weird that you guys haven't, I guess, heard of it.
He actually physically fights horses?
No, he doesn't put boxing gloves on and go take a big old stud Belgian on or a Clydesdale. It's like cockfighting. It's like two horses fight each other, and then yeah.
Oh, okay.
Seems like common knowledge to me, but apparently it's not.
No, like you're blowing it. So James Roberts, buddy of mine from God, I've known him, thinking about it now, over 30 years. So Jeez. the picture of the alien could be like a recording. The mountain or where it's located could have quartz in it, and whatever walks past it could have stored an image in the quartz and it replays itself.
That's a new one. That's
Fucking
interesting.
James, that's
deep.
yeah, you're in it. That's
really
legalized marijuana right there. That is. John, I'm not putting your comment up. So, haha. And Jeanette, who we love, Jeanette.
It's true. Oh, I love Jeanette.
Horse fighting is true, like dog fighting for money. Jeanette's the best.
Jeanette, you're my favorite.
As well, she should be. Jeanette is amazing, and she lived in the most exotic place of anyone I've ever known. She's originally from England, but her dad was a cop in Papua New Guinea.
Wow.
How cool is that? Like,
That's pretty
it's just
cool.
fun to fucking say it.
Papua New Guinea. I like that. Rolls.
Like, doesn't it feel cool to just say it? Patrick, say it.
Papua New Guinea.
No, you just made it sound horrible, Pat. Jeez.
Wow. How did you
Papua New
ruin
Guinea.
that?
You ruined it, Pat. We're moving on.
ruined it.
Moving on.
God.
Moving on. Hey, I want to see some horse fighting videos.
Look, now he's going to be
too.
out there. Do you think they ever strap knives to the horses?
The culture and custom is there, but
Well, they do that with the cockfighting. They'll
Right.
attach razors to the cocks, and that sounded so horrible.
sounds like Pat's prom date. Like, yeah.
It sounds like my date last night, man.
We're not supposed to talk about her. Remember, Pat?
Well, I felt like I had razors attached to my cock afterwards.
Whoa. Penicillin, brother.
A lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of it.
It's the only guy I know that uses penicillin like a moisturizer. But so since this incident, is there a camera? Did you put a camera back there?
No, I don't. That means I'd have to go back to that area and check the camera. So no.
So, but doesn't that make sense though?
If I want to die or get probed or something.
Now, do you want to be probed?
I
mean, that's a whole nother show.
I'm into horse fighting, but I don't know about that aspect.
I mean, he's into horse fighting. Now he wants to get probed. What's happening in the Great Plains of Montana?
Meth.
Lots of meth.
Lots of meth here. Tons of
Yeah.
meth. Yeah.
When you look at what's the show? What the hell was that show? I didn't even like it. The one about the meth. The one that everybody liked.
Oh, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. I didn't. like it.
Yeah.
When Breaking Bad seems like a friggin' high school documentary to you, there might be a problem. But
I think.
I want you to go up and do it, Don. Stop, Don.
Oh, wait, if you're paying for me to come out to this wrestling Hall of Fame deal or whatever, I will go put a camera back for you.
See, now you mess around, and I will buy you an Amtrak ticket.
Oh,
Amtrak. You got to go with the Whitefish, Montana, and help on that from here.
So, I'm tempted.
Because I worked there for almost 7 years.
Oh,
So, it would take a little bit of effort to get enough people to be like, yeah, we'll let him ride. But like, so you got to go find this guy. And actually, really, the ticket would probably cost you like $80 to go from there to here.
with $100 mail-in rebate.
Yeah, like not even like I'm telling you, like it's not that expensive. But why? You got to go put a camera back up there, Don. Listen,
Yeah.
Don.
Okay.
You don't seem like a small dude.
Thank you.
You're a big old boy, ain't you?
I'm a big boy. I'll
How tall are
WWF
you?
you.
How big are you?
5'10", 206 pounds.
All right, so you're not a small feller.
Yeah.
I mean, you hunt.
I'm excited
You're
to
out
hear where
there.
you're going with this. Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, look, I'm not trying to say you need to wrestle a fucking alien, grizzly
like
or whatever it is, or lizard people. I'm not saying that, but what I feel like is if you go during the day, very bright out, don't you know, aliens and lizard people don't show up during the day. It's a fact. No one gets them in pictures during the day.
It's a fact.
Why the hell is Jeanette saying you can't go in the daytime?
Thank you, Jeanette.
Can't you go? Oh no, Jeanette said, "Can't you go in the daytime?" Excuse me. Let me correct that.
Shoot, Jeanette,
Now you're
I thought
shot
you were
in
on my
face.
team. Yeah, I lose.
Look, even
Jeanette
better.
knows what's best. So all right.
And then
all right.
even Nate says, "Send Patrick to put it in." James, as long as he doesn't want to be
Pro
by
by horse. That's Pat's job too. Pat.
Good.
See, buddy.
Carmine says hello. I don't know who that
Cool.
is. That
Oh
thing is
yeah,
from
what's
John
up,
Show.
Carmine? Yeah.
But yeah, so come on. You got to go back and put
It's-
another camera up.
I know this summer I thought it was interesting because I like to. I have a dirt bike that I traveled all my cameras because it's the quickest, most efficient way. I got to the entrance to where this
Please tell me
camera
it's an
was.
80cc. Please tell me it's like a little 80cc.
It's like a 50.
Oh, that's
like,
even better.
yeah.
Even better.
No, I got this beautiful XT 250. It is my
Nice.
baby. But I got to the entrance of the spot and I sent Pat and his brother Kelly a video. And Pat, you probably remember this from the summer. I'm like, here I am at the entrance to the camera. It's getting dark. I'm getting out of here. And
I do
I'm
know
out.
that. Yeah.
I wasn't having it. And it's just creepy.
There's weird energy up there. It's a weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird place. It's really weird. Really weird.
See, I'm the asshole that in the horror movie that goes, well, let's see what's in that room.
Yeah, it's you. I get that. That's a good look on you, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm that asshole because you know what it is. I'm also of that mindset of like, and I heard this recently. The downfall of most people is ego.
Oh, for sure.
Like that's
For
me.
sure.
Like you ain't calling me a fucking punk. Fucking
Right.
go up there, ain't fucking.
Yeah.
I ain't no bitch.
Yeah, you ain't gonna. Yeah.
You can punk me. I'll go right up in there and next week and put that camera up there. You put that camera up there? Nah, man, I was got busy.
I'll say this much though about this whole camera placement thing. I have 4 or 5 pictures under my belt from all my cameras through the years. They're actually more weird and unexplainable as this one.
What do you mean?
I have 2 images of an entity, I can say, that happened actually this last summer at 1:00 in the morning. It's not an alien per se or a bipedal person structure. It's a creature that actually has the explanation for that one. With the 2 pictures, there's no answer for those 2.
Do they align with this one?
They're in the same boat. It's in the same area, the same realm of this one. This is what I get. This is what gets me on this. Like, you look at this picture. Oh, it's a trespasser. Oh, it's an alien. Oh, it's a spirit. The 2 pictures of this creature I have, you can't say anything that would make sense to what you think it could be. And that's down the road. That's Redgate Part 2. So we're going to revisit this podcast.
Yeah,
When Pat and I sit down and re-hammer this out, because I have some footage that's just, I mean, you have enough cameras out there in the middle of Montana, in the middle of nowhere, that you're bound to get some weird stuff.
And Jeanette says that you and I, Dan or Don, should go out there and we'll do it. And you only need to be faster than me.
Oh, I got you.
Do you know what? Do you know what it means to be shamed? Do you know what that means to shame somebody?
I'm excited to hear.
You're a Walking Dead fan?
No.
So if you watch Walking Dead in the early seasons, there was a scene where Shane had hurt himself and he was with this big guy, real big guy. And the big guy was trying to help him and get him back to safety, and all the zombies were coming. And Shane's there, and he's like, "Here, help, keep going." And Shane's like, I got a plan. And he steps away from the guy and shoots the dude in the leg and then takes off.
You're getting shot first.
Listen, I'm 20 years in the Marine Corps. We'll figure out who the fuck's a better shot when this shit's done. I'm pretty good, man.
When you pull out your high point, you're like, oh, look at my high point. I'm gonna shoot, and you're gonna.
Oh no. You know what my favorite we're not
1911 Commander 4-inch Kimber.
I actually have a 1911 Colt Commander.
Oh, look at that call. I like that.
But you know what my favorite is? I have a Grendel 380.
That sounds micro.
Bro,
Wow.
it is.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're at with that.
Well, Grendel is the precursor to Keltec, the same person, and it's weird here in New York where I'm at, because it's completely legal in New York, but it's a 10-round internal magazine.
You can't have guns in New York.
Oh, you can.
Weird.
It's county. It's so weird. So I live in Rensselaer County, and went to the sheriff's office, got my stuff done, turned in my paperwork, 2 weeks later, I had my license, no problem, no bubbles, no troubles. You go across the Hudson River, which is, I kid you not, 3 miles from my house, and you go do the same thing. You're talking months, if not a year, for the same thing I did in a couple of weeks. It's just
What a trip.
It's so county based, but if you go up where Niagara Falls is, that is a very red gun county. It's very odd for that area. And I talked to guys up there, and they're like, "Yeah, man, I just walked in. I was like, I want a carry permit," and they're like, "Here you go. Want a box of Snickers also?" Like it's one of those weird. Like we can do a whole show on that. Like that's a whole thing for me. I'm like, I was trained, I was taught, I teach my kids. My kids know the four rules of gun safety, how to care. My kids are very aware of all these things.
Good for you.
And I always say, like, people who are like on the other end of the spectrum that are like, oh, I'm always like, has anyone taught you?
Well, that's the kicker.
Like if I didn't teach you how to use a lighter, you'll burn your house down.
Bingo.
Yep. It's so, like, my mother went to school in Baltimore City and did archery in high school. There's one. Wow. Baltimore City.
Speaking of guns, though, what did I just see today? I see the Sandy Hook victims.
No, we're not even going to get into it.
Okay. I actually just read that like 10 minutes before the podcast. I couldn't believe it.
That is such a tragic thing. I can't even.
It truly is. It shows.
I can't even. That's one of those ones where it crosses lines that I don't care what side of the fence you're on. If you just don't say, this is tragic, this is horrible, and this is unbelievable.
We're blaming the gun. Yeah.
You know, in every single
the gun's a
sense of the
tool.
word.
It's like a hammer. It's like a drill.
I've been called a tool before.
You're a tool for sure.
I've been called that.
Pat, what have you been called? What were you called lately?
Oh,
everything but a child of God.
Yeah, pretty much. I've been called some
everything but a
racist,
child of God.
sexist, pig. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about racist. I think that was you.
Oh,
no, that wasn't me. That was your girl, bud.
Hold on. Nate just had a hell of an idea.
Let's hear it.
You got to get the Unearthing the Supernatural guys out there.
I don't know who those guys are.
So we'll have to make an introduction. Have you been on Unearthing the Supernatural yet? Have you met them yet, Pat?
No, but I've talked to them on Facebook Messenger.
So they are the only all Native American supernatural team. Like legit.
Hey, let's do it.
Like legit. That Nate, contact Hero. Let Hero know what's up. I think I would fucking burn vacation time to come out there for that.
That means we have to go up there, though. Doesn't anybody else see a problem with this?
Oh, God. Will you shut your soup cooler? We're going.
Pat, at least you know where it's at. I'll be sitting home. Not dying.
No. Oh, listen here, Big Country. You're going. You are so going.
Big Country. I don't need a nickname. Listen.
Oh, God.
Big Country. No.
Big Country. We're doing this shit. That's a problem, John, if you ain't been called a tool yet. That is so great. Yes, Nate, contact them. Make this. That would be amazing. Because those guys are like, if you watch some of their videos, they go into some like seriously like they went into what was it, the Cherokee Killing Cave or something like that, or like they go into like some serious legit spots where you're like, yeah, no, y'all ain't getting me in there. No. Jehovah ain't taking my soul.
Yeah, I understand that completely.
Yeah, no. They're good dudes, but they are the reason marijuana is legalized. I'm just gonna tell you that shit. Like they
the devil's lettuce itself,
more medicinal. It's very medicinal. It gets them in contact with the spirits. Like
devil's lettuce.
Oh God, it's so great.
The devil's lettuce.
It's so great. So you've never, other than when Pat made you go up there, have you been back at all?
No, because it's one of those things like, oh, I'm freaked out by it. Well, maybe it's just me. Then I take Pat up there and his brothers, and they're like, wow, this is the creepiest spot we've ever been. Like, I know, you don't have to tell me, like, let's not come back here.
So let's flip it for a second, though.
Okay.
When you put the first camera up there,
yeah.
Think back to when you put the camera up there.
Yeah.
Did it bother you at all? Like, seriously, thinking about it, like, before this happened, you put the camera up there. Was it like, man, I get a weird vibe around this place? Or was it more like, put my camera up and go about my business?
Yeah, I probably was more removed from the situation because I just got the dirt bike there, put the camera up, drove away. I put 10 cameras up that day. Like, yeah, it didn't stand out. Yeah.
Right. And that's the other side to it is like, just keeping the kind of digging into this a little bit. Is it now creepy because of the photo where pre-photo it was like just another spot in the woods?
To a point. I mean, I probably from my perspective, because I'm the guy driving this, because everybody I've taken their sense is like, wow, this is creepy as hell. Like, we don't want to be here. But me originally going in there, there wasn't anything that stood out.
Right. Like it's almost like community fear now.
Yeah, it's a common like, ooh.
It's been they've heard you talk about it. They've heard the vibes to it. They know what it is. Now it's like a community vibe of like, this is a scary place.
And I probably, now that you say that, I probably built it up more, like in the film,
Right.
like, I don't want to go up here. That's straight emotion because I really don't, because I'm freaked out by it. But because of my way of how I look at it, has it, trickled into their mindsets? Possibly.
Right. There's a term for that, and I can't think of what the term is, where and it's not mass hysteria, but it's where one person's fear is transmuted into other people.
Right.
We've come up with a lot of plans for this area. So you're gonna put another camera up there, Don.
And you're buying me a ticket to come to the WWF or the wrestling.
International Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame.
That's the one. Deal?
We're gonna get, but Nate's got to get Hero to come out there, and he's gonna. It's not transphobic, John. It's not transphobic. That's a whole nother thing. And then Nate's gonna work on getting Hero to come out there. Those guys would come out there. Those guys would legit come out there and do like an entire cleanse and everything. Dude, I got a legit RV. I would drive if I have the time. I would drive my RV out there. I got a 31-foot Class C.
Oh, wow.
We're heading out.
You got
That
the
would
time.
be cool. No,
You
that would be
got the
freaking
time.
sweet.
Yeah, I got the time. I get my 3 weeks of vacation. I'm going to sort of run to Montana. I do have family up in Billings, though. I have a family in Billings and in.
So you can get some meth on your trip. Neat.
That's a whole look. We could tell that story. It's a whole nother one. I gotta. I don't give a shit. I'll talk out of class. I have family who went to jail in the Billings area. They used to own like a monstrous ranch out there. My other uncle lives in Sturgis.
Oh, really?
Like he legitimately lives in. Do you remember when there was this? And I just told this story recently. Do you remember when over the summer they had all the protesting in Sturgis? Like there was like the guy standing in the middle of the road in Sturgis, and there was and they were protesting all the bikers because the bikers were like, "I'm not wearing a mask. You can go pound sand."
Yeah.
And they had all those guys protesting them. And there was like a video, and let's see if you remember it. There was this really big guy, and he kept, kind of harassing the people around, and the cops were they were keeping the peace. And there was a little guy, maybe like 5'5", that was ready to get some. And then there's a video of the big guy getting arrested as a bike comes blowing past him, and he kicks at it. Do you ever see that?
I don't know.
If you look it up, it is one of the Antifa guys. He gets arrested when he kicks at a bike as it goes past him. The little guy, trying to get some, and the bike that goes past are both my uncle.
Oh,
wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, like I'm watching, like somebody posted one of those like YouTube or Facebook Live videos, and somebody posted it, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, and you hear these guys like, "F you, you suck, you smell like feet," or whatever they're yelling at each other. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, that's my uncle.
Hey, uncle.
I'm like, what are you? And so then I'm texting my mother. I'm like, you know what your brother's doing? You know where your brother is right now? And she's like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, yep. He's getting famous. He's getting his 15 minutes right now.
He's getting famous.
He is getting his 15 minutes. So when Patrick can we expect to see Redgate? Like, is it gonna? Are we doing like what's the? Is it going to be on like Netflix or any kind of streaming service? Anything along those lines?
It's going to be eventually once we sign a deal. Eventually, it'll be streaming available. Right now, we're doing the festival run, so there's going to be public screenings of it. Like in Detroit next month, March 20th, 8:30 a.m. in Detroit. You can watch it publicly if you want to make that big of an effort to come out and see it. The Motor City Horror Legacy Film Fest is going to be the first big public screening. We're going to amp that up a bunch. Like we're going to put ads in the newspaper, everything to get as many people as possible to that first screening, and then. After that, I mean, independent film's so hard to predict. It's just like, okay, we're gonna work it, and see what kind of deal we can eventually get for this. But I'm hoping it'll be screened out by the summer or early falls. Is kind of what I'm hoping.
Yep.
Do you guys have Amish in Montana?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was just
Yeah.
curious. That'll
We do
make
have,
sense.
yeah.
That'll make more sense to you if you ever when you watch the movie, folks. That'll make way more sense once you watch the movie.
Why?
What do you mean? Why? What do you mean? Why? Are you serious, Don? Don, did you watch the movie?
I did a couple times.
And you're asking me why? Why Amish would make sense if they're in Montana in that movie? Pat, does it make sense to you?
Yeah, a little bit. It all makes sense.
A little bit. Well, makes no bit to me.
Holy shit. Are you serious?
What does Hezekiah and Ezekiel and Jedediah have? a part in
Look,
this?
I was on Amtrak. Jebediah and Zechariah
Yep.
rode my train. Like they are the biggest train. It's very interesting. The Amish love, for people who can't touch machines in that way, love them some trains.
Trippy.
In Syracuse, they would stand on the platform and just watch the trains come in and out. They're very much like buffs, foamers, whatever you want to call the train fans, rail fans. Like they are very, very into it. John, we all know that there's Amish in Pennsylvania. Like that's like Pennsylvania Deutsch. Like we all know about that.
They invented them. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's kind of their thing. God, how? Like I don't want to spoil the movie, but I can't understand why Amish doesn't make sense to you. Like that's the first thing that came to mind to me was, are they Amish?
I love this. I love this angle, but I don't really know.
I'm like blown away that you don't see this. Don, I can't spoil the movie. Now everyone's got to go watch the movie. Go watch Redgate.
Hey, whatever. The best thing you said about that is everybody's be like, well, how does Amish tie in if the guy that has a part in the film doesn't know what you're talking about? We better go watch the film. So I don't know if that's the angle.
I'm going to have to send Don to go watch the film.
Don, go watch it. Yeah. Oh, he's going to watch it again in Detroit.
God.
Now I've been thinking about Amish the whole time, like Hezekiah and like, yeah.
That's who I thought it was. I thought it was Hezekiah, Jebediah, and Ezekiel. And you did even the haircuts. You're fucking kidding me. Are you serious? You're messing with me. You got to be messing with me. You got to be messing with me.
It's all a ploy. It's all a ploy.
I guess it depends. I guess, yeah.
It's all a ploy to get people to watch the film. They can't. Of course, they can't know what you're talking about.
No, John. I'm not saying that Don looks Amish in any way, but I mean he does have a little bit of the Amish comb over. He has a little bit of the Amish comb over.
That's because I'm balding and I'm trying to grow my hair out because I'm.
Well, here's one for you. Do you know why Amish don't have mustaches? Do you know why?
Enlighten me.
So as the Amish faith was kind of hitting its peak, because it is a religion, if people don't realize that, your Amish is a religion. It's not a people. As it was hitting its peak in the 1800s, if you've ever watched the movie A Million Ways to Die in the West, they have an entire song about mustaches.
Huh?
Mustaches were considered as an eccentric. Men would have fancy mustaches, and it was a way to kind of show out was to have a mustache. So the Amish said, we won't have mustaches. We'll just have beards.
Trippy.
That is why Amish don't have mustaches.
That's where it came from. Huh.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Because I always wondered, well, why the hell do these guys just have chin straps? It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah, but that's we're gonna look, folks. We're gonna get ready to put a bow on this thing, close the bar, and then I got to talk to Don. See, this is why. This is why. This is why I keep saying we need to. I'm gonna do an after hours show called the After Hours Club. They're kayfading on you. They might be, Nate. I think they are. I think I'm getting kayfaded right now. There's an absolute chance of that because the fact that they're sitting there going, I don't know what you mean by
What is Amish? Is that like a Mennonite or no?
No, that's totally different.
Oh, okay.
Mennonites. Oh God, I have a whole story on them too. When I was in Pennsylvania, they're again that the Mennonites are like the Pepsi One of Amish, all the same great flavor, but just none of the guilt. We're gonna drive. We're gonna wear we'll wear the clothes and everything else. You know, yeah, they're a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother animal. So, we got coming up. Motor City is when.
March 18th through the 20th is the film festival, but Sunday, 8:30 a.m. is when it's going to be screened, and it's the Detroit Metro hotel there. It's a really nice hotel, and they're running on a bunch of ballrooms and stuff, and yeah, it's going to be fun.
At cost, do you know how much tickets are or anything like that?
It's like I looked up. It's $70 for if you want to go to the entire film festival, but I think it's only like $5 or $10 for a day or something like that. It's not too much for like a session or something like that. So
you getting any of the gate? You getting any of the gate? What's up here?
We should with the amount of people we're going to have.
We don't want any gate, buddy.
With the amount of people that we're going to have at this thing, we should. Yeah, it's going to be packed. It's going to be fun.
And that's where you got to get your room there, Don, is at the Desmond. You'll like that. That's where the wrestling thing's going down is at the Desmond.
Cool.
So you get that one. It's right by the airport. So I mean,
is it okay?
So the Desmond actually like the Desmond is like 2 miles from the airport. It's on the same strip. That's where you'll go do that at. That's where you should feel like the Desmond's such a cool hotel. Like the inside of the hotel looks like a town, the way they've done it. So it looks like the tops of everything looks like roofs in each of the rooms, like you're going into the door of a house. It's really neat. Yeah, it's a neat hotel.
Cool.
So we got that March 18th. We don't know when everything else will be released. Don, you're not doing the Outfitter piece no more?
No, I did 10 years of that deal. That was enough for this guy.
I was gonna say, can somebody still hire you if they really needed a guide out there? Nope, not even doing private.
Get personal friends. I still kind of dive down that, but no. Give up my guide license.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, man, that's
you want an elk, you want a deer, you want a bear, hit me up. I'll hook.
We might talk about bear. And the only reason I say that,
season opens in 2 months.
The only reason I say that is I looked. I have a friend who does very similar to like Expedia, but it's for hunting. And you can, and he'll set up trips and do all the stuff for you.
Oh yeah.
And I looked at Canadian bear, and on the east side of Canada, it's actually fairly cheap. You can find some of these places as long as you drive up there.
Right.
You know, it's been some years, but it was like $800.
Yeah.
And you could go up and you could hunt bear, and they would put you on a stand and you fish walleye during the day.
Yeah.
And then, but he sends me one, and bro, it's like fly in deep Canada.
There you go.
Like $3,500. And I'm like, is this American or Canadian? Because if it's like $3,500 Canadian, I could pull that out of my ashtray in my truck. But like, if this is like $3,500 American, like I'm supporting the entire economy in that city. That's crazy. Like, we're not doing this, but yeah, that's the one thing. Like, I always hunt deer every year. I got my spot. I have one of I'm the guy who's hunted that spot for long enough that I can kind of go, let me sit down here. About 7:30. Okay, get my gun ready. Go ahead. It should be coming up. Oh, there you are. Let's go ahead and knock that down. All right, let's go home. Like I'm that guy. But you know what we made the other day, Don? Have you ever, you know what ossobuco is?
I do not.
Ossobuco is normally made with veal, and it's this amazing Italian dish. If you've never had it, you need to have it. And we made it with venison.
Oh, really?
And yeah, it's like you do like the shank, and then you cut it into pieces, and you do like an entire with mirepoix and sauce and everything, and you make this entire dish, and you cook it inside of that. It's amazing. Never had it.
Oh.
Highly recommend it. Money talks, Don. Yeah, whatever. And then
Not this cowboy, not anymore.
nah, so that's one of those things. Like if you like, I watch Meat Eater all the time, and I'm like,
yeah, he's my boy. Yeah.
I'm like that dude. But you know what? That's also the example of a guy who's like, this is all I do all day.
Right.
The rest of us go, man, that would be amazing. No, this is all the fuck I do.
Day to do it.
Right. You got all day to do it, and every single person is where like my gear looks like it came out of a homeless shelter because there's mix and match pieces. Like, oh, I could afford a jacket this year. I bought new boots this year. Everything those people are wearing is like the highest end, like super lightweight Vortex. And I'm like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This shit's bogus. Are you in the bathroom and you just pulled toilet paper off?
I know. I just spilled this damn drink everywhere.
Oh my goodness. But we're going to get ready to close this up because I got to talk to these gentlemen. Patrick, where are you? Where else can we find you besides that? If somebody's looking to talk to you,
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's kind of like my main three that I use.
and what are they under?
Patrick W. Cutler. You'll find pretty easy. Or just look up the hashtag Redgate, and that there's a lot of information on there. But Patrick W. Cutler on any of those platforms, you'll find it pretty easily.
And how about you, Don? Do you want anyone to find you?
Not really. If they want to find me, it's through Pat.
Find him through Pat, or I'm going to dime him out. He's got a great Instagram page that it's Trail Cam Guru. Everybody needs to go support his Trail Cam Guru. It's got some great stuff. Keith, I will find you on IG after this, Keith, and you and I need to talk. Robert is a blast. He was in the Army, so we talk slow to him.
Just like being a Ravens fan.
Wow. Are you a fucking Squealers fan? Are you?
I'm sorry. I like the best teams in football.
Wow. Really?
I don't like being second.
Well,
best.
you guys are the new old Cincinnati Bengals after this season.
Yeah.
You know that, right? Who's your quarterback? I think Pat's the new quarterback. Did they just sign Pat? Patrick W. Cutler, new quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Bet you $100 they beat the Ravens still with Pat as quarterback.
And we did sweep the Ravens.
I'll take a bet like that.
Good.
We will definitely talk because. So all right, gents. As always, we do this every show. The guests get the last word. So, Pat, what's your last word?
Check out Redgate in Detroit next month. It's going to be a blast on March 20th, 8:30 a.m. in Detroit. You can look us up, Motor City Legacy Horror Film Fest, all the information out there. But that's our next big date. So looking forward to it.
All right. And for you there, Don, what's your last word?
Appreciate you having us on the show. It's been a really good show. It's been a really fun time. Check out Redgate Film. Follow Pat. Follow the whole deal. See where this thing goes. Keep an open mind. That's probably the biggest one. Keep an open mind.
All righty, folks. Be sure to push your stool in.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation. Found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.